Hi, you guys. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but today the way that we're going to do the lessons this week and from now on is that I'm going to pre-record everything that you guys need to do, and I'm going to divide it up so there are different parts to your lessons. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go over, I'm sharing the screen with you, we're going to go over the PowerPoint, and I'm going to give you guys examples and pointers the way that we would in a regular classroom. The only difference is that you can't really raise your hand and ask me a question, but if you do have a question, just message me on Remind and message me on Instagram DM, okay? So this is the PowerPoint for the week. I'm giving it to you both through this type of lesson that we're doing, and also I'm just giving you the PowerPoint as a whole. There are 14 slides total, but each one is going to be divided up, and I'm going to explain each one by one, okay? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. This is the first page. This is basically just to let you know what our goal is for the week. So this week you guys are going to analyze how Michelle Obama structures her memoir. So last week you guys read an excerpt from her memoir, Becoming. This week you're going to figure out how she actually structures it, how she starts it off and all the way until she finishes it. And then you're going to determine how figurative language plays a role in the creative process of writing a memoir. So next week your assignment is going to be to write your own memoir. So today what we're going to figure out, or for part two, actually, what you're going to figure out is how figurative language makes your writing stronger. And so when you write your memoir, you're going to use figurative language to make your writing stronger. So the next part here is just a lesson outline. So I'm always going to have these in the PowerPoint. It's just going to let you know what you're going to see in the PowerPoint itself. So we're going to review what is a memoir. We're going to go over the standard RI 1.3. And so we're going to figure out how Michelle Obama structures her memoir. Then I'm going to go over the assignment that you guys have for part one. So numbers 1, 2, and 3 are all for part one of this week's assignment. Then for number 4, we're going to review figurative language. It's very similar to the mini lesson that we did before, a really long time ago, before we finished the Romeo and Juliet lesson. We did a figurative language 2-part thing, and so we're going to review that. And then I'm going to go over again the assignment for figurative language, which is part 2 of your handout. And then you have part 3. You're going to pick your topic. By the end of this week, you should have your topic picked for the memoir piece that you will be writing next week. So to help you guys out with that, I actually created a little schedule that you guys can use to do this week's assignment. So your lesson schedule, your suggested schedule for the week of April 6th through April 10th. One little disclaimer, one thing that I want to make a note of is that just because you guys are at home does not mean that you are on summer break. The point is that you are doing school from home, which means that you should dedicate a good 5 to 7 hours each day to your schoolwork. This is why teachers are giving you work to do, because you need to dedicate at least 5 to 7 hours each week to your schoolwork. So I'm going to give you guys more of a schedule on my Instagram, but each of you should dedicate at least 1 hour each day for each subject. So English should take about an hour each day. Math should take about an hour each day. Social studies, world history should take about an hour each day. Biology or science, physical science should take about an hour each day. And then your electives and all of that, each subject should take about an hour, just the same way that it would in a regular classroom. And that is why I know that a lot of you guys have been complaining about all the work that we give you, but this is why. It's because we are still in school. It's either this or you come over the summer. So you got to figure out, you got to schedule things out properly, okay? So I'm giving you guys this schedule so that you guys could maybe listen to this and then follow this schedule. So Monday and Tuesday, the goal is to watch part 1 of the lesson, which is this video that you're on right now. This is part 1, and it's all on the structure of a memoir. And this is technically slides 5 through 8 in the PowerPoint, okay? Then sometime Monday and Tuesday, you answer the part 1 questions in the handout, and I'm going to go over the handout as well. Then Wednesday and Thursday, you're going to watch part 2 of the lesson, and that's on figurative language, and there will be another video posted in Google Classroom. You should see it, and those are slides 9 through 13 in the PowerPoint, right? And then you complete part 2 of the activity in the handout. And that's Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, you're going to review all your work to make sure that you got your answers correct. You're going to pick your topic for the memoir piece you'll be writing and write it out in the handout, and then you're going to submit all your work. And if you stick to the schedule, you should be good, and you shouldn't be doing stuff on the weekend. I know some of you guys work. You guys told me that. But for the most part, try to stick to the schedule. 1 hour per class each day, okay? So this here, you guys have already seen it. It's just where to reach me. Please reach out to any of your friends that you know don't have me on any of this, because this is how I reach out to you. So if you're a student that doesn't have me on Instagram or Remind, please add me. It's important. And my office hours are 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. So we're going to go over this. We went over this last week, but a lot of you guys didn't attend the Zoom meeting. So we're just going to review what a memoir is. So you guys read Michelle Obama's Becoming Memoir. And essentially what a memoir is, it's based on a memory, and it's a truthful account of a specific moment in a person's life. So it's not like an autobiography where the person is writing from the moment they're born all the way until they finish writing the book, or a biography, which is about another person, and usually a biography is written after that person has died. So you'll see that a biography is written from the moment that person was born all the way until they died. A memoir is more, it centers around one theme, and it's more about a memory that a person has, and how their life has impacted, how that one memory has impacted their entire life, right? How that one moment in their life has impacted how they grew up and how they became the person that they are. We read a memoir in the beginning of the year called Night, and it was about a boy who was living in a concentration camp with his father. I hope you guys remember that one. It was the first text that we read in the beginning of the year. And we read that text, and the entire memoir was about his life in the concentration camp and his relationship with his father. So memoirs, often what they do is that they're told in first person point of view. So they use the word I, we, me, because it's about your life, right? Or it's about the author's life. So you're not going to write in third person when it's about your own life. So you use the word I a lot, and each memoir has a very specific voice that is very specific to the author themselves, right? And typically memoirs will focus on the relationship between the writer and another person or set of people. So in the memoir that we read, Night, he's focusing on his relationship with his father. In Becoming, she's focusing on her relationship with her mother and how her mother influenced her to become the person that she is today, right? And it's a whole book. It's a giant book. But the book focuses on her relationship with her mother. All right. So how does Michelle Obama do it? So what we're going to do is we're going to go over standard 1.3, which is the development of ideas, right? How does an author develop their ideas to go from point A to point B to point C to point D, right? Every author writes a text a certain way. They don't just start at the end and then tell you the beginning in the middle and then tell you the middle at the end. Every author develops their text in a specific way, right? To analyze how an author unfolds or develops their ideas, you have to pay attention to the order in which her points are being made, right? And let's focus on Michelle Obama's memoir. We have to focus on the order in which she's giving us this information. How is she starting it out? And this is why the objective summary was really important last week. Some of you guys didn't answer that question. You answered all of them except that one. That's nice. But the objective summary is just what happens in what order. What does she say first? What does she say second? What does she say third? And what are the important details there? What is important that she's telling us? Then we have to focus on how those points are introduced and developed. How does she introduce these? Is she just telling us bland stories? Does she use dialogue? Is she using anecdotes? Remember that anecdotes are a short story about a person or an event that happened in your life, right? And memoirs use a lot of anecdotes. And then the connections that she draws among her ideas, right? So it's not just a story about your mom, a story about school, and a story about your brother, but it's how are those stories connected, right? She threads her relationship with her mother throughout the entire memoir. She talks, the entire excerpt that we read, right? She talks about how her mother helped her every day for lunch, or was there every day for lunch, and then how that helped her with her classmates, and then how her school was, right? So she talks about her classmates, then she talks about her schoolwork, and then she talks about her relationship with her mother, and how her mother never let this idea that her school was a bad school to get in the way of how she believed in that, which made Michelle Obama become a very successful student, right? She was put in this gifted program, and she was a very competitive person. And then she keeps going back to her mother. So she's constantly going back to that relationship she has with her mother. And so she connects all those dots. She's not just talking about school. She's not just talking about her mom. She's not just talking about her brother. She's talking about how her mom influenced her life at school, influenced her life with her friends, influenced her brother to make the right decisions. And how all of that made her become the person that she is now. So again, how did Michelle Obama do it? So Michelle Obama's her memoir has a very specific structure, right? In her structure, it focuses on her upbringing. So how did she grow up? Like her school life and her relationship with her mom. She uses first-person point of view, so lots of I's, lots of we, lots of me, to bring up her experiences and talk about her family. And finally, she structures her memoir by using anecdotes. So remember that anecdotes are short stories about, or maybe medium stories about her friends, her family, her brother. So she tells a story about Christmas time, and that story about how her brother wanted to sneak out, but it didn't work out. He ended up making the right decision because her mother raised them right. And then that story about how she became a gifted student, and the anecdote about how her mom was there every day for lunch. All of these are anecdotes that are helping us understand how her life was built and how her childhood was formed and how it drove her to be a very competitive person. All right. So at this point, if you guys have any questions, please write them down about any of these ideas. And then we are going to have a Zoom meeting on Monday, April 6th, and on Wednesday, April 8th. And so hopefully, when you guys participate in the Zoom meeting, you guys can ask me all your questions, because that's what the Zoom meetings are going to be for, right? So at this point, we're done with part one. That's all that part one consists of. And what I want to show you right now is what you would do. So after part one, this is Monday and Tuesday's assignment. So you finish part one. This is part one. And then you exit and you go to your lesson, right? And this here is the lesson that you guys are going to be working on. So you have part one, RI 1.3 questions. So the directions say, answer the following multiple choice questions in the box on the right panel. Only the letter. Use your excerpt of Michelle Obama's Becoming from last week's lesson to answer this part of the assignment. So you do need evidence from the text. So hopefully you can either go back into your text that I gave you guys last week, but I will also provide you a new clean text that you could just go back into in this Google Classroom assignment so that you guys can have it right in front of you. And what you would do is you would read through here, right? You have 3 multiple choice questions. And all you would do is you would write your answer on this right-hand side, right? So if I say that the answer is A, all I'm doing is writing the answer A. And that's it. And then that's part one. So if you're using your phone, you would have to save this. If you're not using your phone, after you're done with part one, right, you would just exit out of this, and then you're done with your English assignment for the day. If you want to do all of the assignments, look at all the videos and all of that, you can go ahead and do that. But for part two, you're gonna see the video for part two here, and I'm also gonna be going over part 3 in the part 2 video, because part 3 is not that long. So I also wanted to mention, please pay attention to what the questions are asking, right? We have this question has 2 parts. First answer part A, then answer part B. Please remember that if you get part A right, but part B wrong, you get the whole question wrong. If you get part B wrong and part A correct, you get the whole question wrong. And for part B, you are being asked to select 2 details. So please select 2 of these details, right? We have A, B, C, D, E. I don't remember what the answers are, but please just select 2 details that support your response to part A. And then for number 3, this one's a little bit trickier, but what you do is that you have to select a bolded phrase that shows this connection, right? So all you're doing, this is the selectable hot text question. All you're doing is highlighting the correct answer, right? So from the bold, just the ones that are bolded. So we have 1, 2, 3 options. You're gonna pick one of the 3, right? So if I think that the correct answer, and I'm not gonna pick a bolded one, is this last sentence, it's not because it's not bolded, I'm gonna highlight this, and up here, where it says highlight color, I'm going to choose a color, right? I could choose green, blue, yellow, whatever. Blue is my favorite color, so I'm going to pick that. And then that is it. And so when you submit it, I'm going to see the highlighted color there. And that's how you turn it in. However, if that's tricky for you, and if you're using a phone and you can't highlight like that, that's okay. All you would do is you would copy it, right? So you right-click, you copy, and then over here, what you do is you right-click again, and you click paste. And there I see the sentence, okay? And that is it. As long as you could do one or the other, you don't have to do both, but that is how I would see the answer, okay? And so that's all we're doing for part 1. So we went over the PowerPoint, we went over memoirs, what a memoir needs, how Michelle Obama structures her memoir, and then you're gonna answer these 3 questions, and that is all we're doing for part 1. Now, please go take a look at part 2 on, you could do it tomorrow, you could do it Wednesday, whenever you see these videos, please go take a look at part 2 so that you know what to do with the figurative language handout, okay? I'm gonna stop recording now, and I hope that you guys have a really great day.